Jacques Le Goff, The Birth of Europe, page 176. Political prophecy. Political prophecy was a phenomenon closely related to national feeling, and it found forceful expression in the 14th and 15th centuries. Through the reading of the Old Testament and the meditation on it, the clergy of the Middle Ages became accustomed to ascribe great importance to prophets and to the political aspects of their prophecies. Burn reckons that the 14th century was decisive in the diffusion of such an attitude. Most European nations and large Italian towns fabricated prophecies of their own. In France, prophecy had it that a king named Charles, also the son of a Charles, would assume power at the age of 13, prevail over first a number of revolts, then the English, and go on to be crowned as emperor in both Rome and Jerusalem before reconquering the Holy Land and dying in Jerusalem. In Spain, Ferdinand of Aragon was the hero of a prophecy that foresaw his definitive victory over the Moors and the foundation of a new world. Burn writes as follows: by the end of the 15th century, prophecy was everywhere. It justified the Italian wars and launched Christopher Columbus upon his maritime journey of discovery. In a medieval world that found it hard to conceive of the idea of progress, prophecy was one of the few means of conceiving of a future already set down. This prophetic Europe foresaw a Europe that would be victorious and dominant, a modern Europe. I do not agree with historians such as Mikhail Bakhtin, who associate a so-called medieval Renaissance with carnival as opposed to Lent, laughter as opposed to tear. I don't know what that means. I don't understand. It's French type English. But the Middle Ages, the period when heavenly values came down to earth, did manage to offer men and women enjoyment even in this earthly life, as has been shown by the splendid recent collective work Le Moyen Âge en Lumière, editor Jacques Dallaroon, Paris, Fayard, 2002. I do not agree with historians such as Mikhail Bakhtin, who associate a so-called medieval Renaissance with carnival as opposed to Lent, laughter as opposed to tears. What is a Lent? I know what a lentil is. The book says that's the author, Jacques Le Goff, saying that there was not a medieval renaissance of carnival, and there was not medieval renaissance of laughter and end of tears. People were usually probably sensible in the medieval world. They had agriculture. And no, there were no more pagans in Europe in 1300, except perhaps for some in Lithuania and Finland. Finland, this book does not tell it, had a religion that was coexisting and cooperative with Christianity, namely Orthodox Christianity, Greek Catholic from Russia, and the religion has been put down in several books called Kalevala, the Kalevala religion. And this book does not, I think, even mention Finland, but that's a French book about the continental Europe. Sweden is not such an important place there either. Finland is a part of Europe, but we are a bit backwards country and we are not very important politically and geopolitically. We are just hanging out here, waiting for death. Kuoleman odotushuone. Good night, sleep tight.